Okay, well, we're also talking this morning about the problems that gambling addiction can cause. Alfred Chan, good morning to you.
Hi, good morning.
Are you expecting with the World Cup beginning today that it's going to be a more busy few weeks for you?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, we are just expecting to look at the phenomenon of how this World Cup stimulate the gambling problem. Yeah, but obviously we hope that this gambling problem will not be increased. Even this kind of a hot topic of a World Cup.
Do you? I don't know. Do the people who would be more likely to bet on the World Cup, would they be perhaps kind of amateur gamblers or occasional gamblers, and maybe not the problem gamblers? The problem gamblers would be betting all year round on other things anyway.
Yeah, I think World Cup is a hot topic that is throughout our clinical experience in the past. This kind of a hot topic create many noise in the public, and I think that many people would like to take their first taste to try their first gambling during the World Cup.
There's a lot of evidence that massive amounts of gambling, massive money is bet in Hong Kong, perhaps more than anywhere else in the world per capita. Do we similarly have an excessive number of problem gamblers, of addicted gamblers?
Actually, according to the report on the study of the Hong Kong people's participation in gambling activity in 2016, conducted by the Hong Kong PolyU, it seems that 61% of the respondents participate in gambling activity in 2016. And among them, only 1.4 report conditions of gambling disorder. And this figure is quite low compared with other countries in the world.
Okay, so you think there are fewer gambling addicts in Hong Kong than other places?
From the report from the government, yeah, it seems that this figure is not a very big figure. But I think we look at our clinical experience that every one gambler may affect at least 5 to 15 family members or their friends. So we estimate that by this projection, more than 1 million of people will be affected by the people with these gambling problems.
I know your organisation is also concerned about young people being involved in gambling.
Yeah.
I read somewhere as well that approximately 50% of all school students had placed a bet at some time or another. And your own group released a report saying 90% of Hong Kong football gamblers started betting before the age of 21.
Yeah.
And you're quite keen on the idea of the minimum age being raised from the current 18 to 21, is that right?
Yeah, exactly. Our recent study of 332 football gamblers age 25 or below who asked our Center for help since 2003 show that over 90% of them started gambling before 21, and 3.6% of them report that they first start their gambling even under the age of 10. And from our clinical experience and foreign research show that the younger people start the gambling, the most likely to be an addicted gambler will be increased, the possibility. So we strongly urge the government to consider to raise the minimum legal age of gambling up to 21 years old. And this policy, maybe when you look at the condition in Macau, the legal age to enter the casino is also increased from 18 to 21 already, around 5 years ago. So we think that we have to protect the young people, as we know that now for the DSE student, after complete the DSE and go to the university, they even just about the age of 20. So we have to protect them to stop them to enter the gambling field, the world, so that to minimize the problem created by this gambling addiction.
Jessica Moe, would you agree with that?
Well, I agree with Alfred, because according to my clinical experience, I have come across some cases who actually they first gambled at the age of 18 because they are already adult and they got an identity card, and then they feel that going into jockey club is kind of ceremony, like you do something that you can do only at your age of 18. So after that, they developed a gambling disorder. So we think that I support Alfred's suggestion that to raise the legal age of gambling to age 21. However, the more important thing is we have to tell the parents that, because according to Alfred's data, there are a lot of children first gamble actually under the age of even 18. Yeah, and that's true because we have come across some cases they gambled with mahjong or poker or something. Traditional Chinese don't think that that's a very serious gambling kind of thing. Then we underestimate the effect, and later they became a pathological gambler. So I think more important it's the education on parents and family, how their acceptance of gambling would affect their children.
Going back to the question of the incidents, what proportion of people who gamble are problem gamblers? Do we know? Is it like 10% of them or 1%?
Well, I would say... I have to check the data.
Alfred Chan, can you answer that? How many, what proportion of the people who gamble are actually problem gamblers or addicted to gambling?
You mean the overall Hong Kong population?
Yeah.
As the report from the government is only 1.4% report of these people affected by this gambling addiction. And but when we consider this phenomenon, that I think this is a general figure, and from our clinical experience, maybe I think that the people from social gambling to problem gambling or even gambling disorder need a long time for this development. So that means that in this World Cup, whenever the people start the gambling during the World Cup, the problem will not happen immediately. But whenever the people first start the gambling, maybe they will construct any irrational belief that gambling is not the kind of a game of chance, but the game of skills. So they will this kind of a reinforcement by like the winning experience, so that led them to reinforce their gambling activity. And then what we concern is the sense of self-control. That's why whenever the people have less their sense of self-control, and they will become more easy to get addicted to the gambling. So when we look at the figure of the Hong Kong government is only 1.4, it seems that it's not very good, not very big figure. But we consider that that is the only maybe underestimate the figures.
Okay, an email from Anna. This is for Anna Fenton, actually, sometime host of this program. He says, Dear Hugh and Jim, gambling is an addiction like any other. Addiction is addiction. It's medically and scientifically recognised as a chronic brain disease, and evidence shows that 12-step recovery programs such as Gamblers Anonymous are the most successful and free treatment methods. Gamblers Anonymous exists in Hong Kong in Chinese. For English-speaking gambling addicts online Gambling Anonymous is available. Anna, thanks for that information. Alfred Chan, we also heard from Dominic Y, who was saying that you should control the flow, basically access to credit of people who have this gambling addiction. I mean, really, for their own good, whether they want it or not. What do you think about that kind of approach to gambling addiction and problem gambling?
You mean the bet on credit? Sorry?
Yeah, stopping, not allowing them to get credit.
Yeah, sure.
I
think it is a very important point that because, like when we look at the addiction problem, that means the people have less self-control or maybe lost his control. So if the gamblers can start the gambling on credit, that means they will not be responsible to the gambling. Whenever he lost from gambling, he have to find ways to pay off the debts. So this will reinforce and stimulate the maybe speed up the way of the addiction. So when we look at the our clients, whenever they come across to our service, we find that and we witness that over 90% of people have their debt problems, and we foresee that if we provide the credit bet on credit, the problem will be very become more even worse and create like the long shot problems.
Dominic Y, hello.
Hi,
still there. Yeah, great. Just going back to that business of the minimum age to be allowed to gamble. 18 is often thought of as it's the age of majority. Do you think there would be popular support or any particular difficulty in trying to raise the age from 18 to 21?
Well, I don't think there should be any particular problem. And then, as Alfred mentioned, Macau has done it already. But I guess we are innovative, or we want to be an innovative city. Maybe we can ask our youngsters, what do they think is the proper age, whether that should be raised, and also whether they might have any new ideas in terms of how to combat youngsters into gambling. So we could actually ask the youngsters to hack the problem. Maybe that would be a hackathon problem for them.
Another aspect is the penalties. The maximum penalties for illegal gambling are not that great, are they? For a third conviction, it's a $30,000 fine, maximum 9 months in jail. That would be for doing it for the third time. When you're talking about $1 billion a day industry, that's not much of a penalty, not much of a disincentive, is it? That's not going to put a crack in a massive operation.
Yeah, I think that might need to be kind of revised to give more deterrent effect. Yeah.
I mean, so bigger jail sentences and bigger fines. Do people get convicted of illegal gambling? I mean, big fish, or is it always small people, or who does it? Who does this law actually work against?
I don't have the statistics here. Maybe Steve might know, but he has left. But I think that there are still, of course, a lot of operations going on by the police, and then you always hear people about this. And maybe if the people are also being prosecuted under money laundering offenses, because this is also money laundering, that might also actually carry a much higher sentences.
Okay, well, thank you very much to all of our guests who joined us this morning. That was Dominic Y, you just heard from there, who's a solicitor and partner with the law firm ONC. Thanks also to Alfred Chan, a senior social work supervisor with Caritas Addicted Gamblers Counselling Centre. Thank you also to Jessica Moe, who's a registered counselling psychologist with the Sunshine Lutheran Centre.